So I don't normally work in this level of chaos, but I have so many things to get done and I have no kids at home with me right now. So I just kind of laid everything out in my living room that I want to get working on today. First is this white stool from an estate sale. Then I have 3 of these little canvas bags that I'm going to turn into maybe some like floral holders that I can hang on the wall. I have this shutter that I think I'm just going to attach a wreath to, so that'll be a quick little project. I just got this little ironing board at an antique store. So it has like all of the little legs and everything it would need to actually stand. I thought it would be a good wall hanger though, so I'm gonna probably stencil some words on that and attach that wreath. And then I have this picnic basket with a nice wooden lid, so I'm gonna do some kind of artwork on the top of that lid and make it more of a decor piece and not just a plain picnic basket. So let's get started. Now I'm starting off with this white ceramic canister that I got at Goodwill for just a couple dollars. It's very plain, nice and shiny white, but I really would like to turn this into something that looks like an actual old antique crock. And to do so, I'm going to start off by applying just a thin coat of matte Mod Podge, kind of as a primer. I've never used it as a primer before, but I'm actually kind of out of some of my paint supplies, and honestly, some of them I have in the garage and they are frozen solid. And I should have thought about that before this big freeze came through. So I'm just going to try the Mod Podge today. I think it'll work fine though, just to give me a little bit of a layer in between this really slick ceramic and my chalk paint that I'm going to use. So once I have the Mod Podge on there, I didn't even actually wait for it to fully dry. You probably should have, but it works out just fine. I go ahead and do my first layer of paint. The first layer I'm using this Dixie Belle paint called Sandcastle, and just doing a really simple coat of this paint all throughout the entire surface. And then once I have that all on there, I kind of realized that that color is pulling a little more warm than the crock that I'm using as my inspiration. So I need to have a paint that's a little bit more of a gray tone to actually look like a true piece of crockery. So I went down into my paints that aren't frozen, the ones that are down in my basement, and I found this color Burlap, also from Dixie Belle, and I used that as my second coat on the piece. And I feel like that had a much closer color to the old crock that I like a lot, but honestly I could even go a little bit more grayish, and I didn't really realize that. It's been a while since I've tried to make something look like a piece of crockery, but I think that this does the job well enough. And once that has mostly dried, I'm taking this antique wax from Walmart, and I'm using it first to just kind of give some color around the edges of the crock, especially towards the top. And then I'm going back through and adding in just these really little light speckles of the dark wax, because some of my favorite pieces of crockery, they're ones that have a lot of imperfections, and so I wanted to add just a little bit of those natural imperfections into this piece to help it look a little bit older. And overall, I love how that looked really well, but I think the biggest difference when you're trying to paint something that looks like an old crock is that you need to have that shiny finish when you're done. And pretty much 99% of the products that I use are matte. I never buy anything that is shiny, so I did have to go grab some polyacrylic for this. I actually would have preferred to use just some glossy Mod Podge, but the store I went to did not have any, so I'm using the Minwax polyacrylic clear gloss, and I've never done this before actually, so I'm going to try this now and see how this top coat looks and if it makes it look more like an actual crock. Now Minwax also sells a spray paint version of this clear polyacrylic, which I hadn't seen before. I don't go to Lowe's very often, and that's where I found this. And if it was warmer outside and I had somewhere to use that, that would have definitely been my preference for this project, because it would have just taken like 5 seconds for me to spray paint this entire thing, and it eliminates kind of that risk of brush strokes and all that. So if you're going to be doing multiples of this type of project, I would probably just recommend the spray paint version. Okay, so from far away, here's how my little 2 faux crocks turned out. I think from here they actually look pretty convincing. Up close, I'm not quite as sold. I have a lot of texture issues in the final top coat, which is always the case when I use polyacrylic. I have a really hard time with it. But I still think that it looks a lot better than just like the plain white that it used to be. It definitely added a lot of character. And I think I'm on the right track with the speckling and the color combinations. But there is definitely a little bit of room for improvement on those. I thought they turned out pretty cute. I don't think they're sellable at this point. And there's also, I see like bottom rim on the larger one that I need to go back in and touch up. So something for you to consider and maybe try to make your own. Maybe you have some improvements that you can do on it. But I definitely think if I was able to spray paint this piece with both the paint and the top coat, that actually would have looked really great. All right, moving on to the shutter piece now. All I'm doing for this piece is picking out some ribbon that I like that I think will kind of complement the shutters and the wreath, and just slipping that right through the wreath and attaching it on the back with a staple gun. Super quick little project. And the silly thing is I've had all the pieces for this literally for months, just kind of hanging around my house. And it took me 2 minutes to actually put it together and turn it into something that I can go sell in my booth. So shame on me for letting it go on that long, but I'm so glad to have that done today because it's so cute and it should be a pretty quick sale. So to start off with this stepping stool, I'm just going to give it a good scrub with a microfiber cloth. I'm really hoping that I don't have to repaint the whole thing because I don't mind that it's kind of a chippy white right now. And honestly, I can tell that it's like a satin paint, so it's going to be nice and durable as it is. But I did find this in the basement of an estate sale, so I just want to make sure that I get it nice and clean before I start working on it and before I sell it in my booth. Seems to have some water staining at the feet, so I will probably actually have to go through and give it a light coat of paint, at least at the bottoms. Just I don't mind something looking kind of like beat up and crackled, but I don't want something to look dirty or necessarily damaged. Okay, I'm already pivoting my plans because I know I just told you that I'm not going to paint it, but since I already have to cover up the water stains, I think I'm going to actually use this moss color that I just got from Walmart. It's their Waverly chalk paint line. It's really good paint. I used to use it when I just started out, but I ran out of my light green Dixie Belle that I normally use, so I just went ahead and grabbed this while I was at Walmart. I'm gonna go ahead and paint the bottom portion of the bench with this green and leave the top white for my stamps that I'm gonna use from Orchid Designs. Okay, now I'm planning out the design for the top of this bench. The beauty of that green chalk paint is that it dries so fast, so I'm able to just put that on there and then basically turn it over and get ready to go. So I'm using the letters from the IOD typesetting stamps. Some of them are black because they've been used before and some of them have never been used yet. And Farmers fits perfectly across the top, and then I'm going to do Market along the bottom. And then I wanted to stamp an animal in the center, but I need to find which one will fit there with the other letters on the bottom. So I need to kind of do some rearranging and see how that's going to work. So these are the animals I can choose from a different stamp set. And I'm going to need one that's not very tall. So the pig definitely fits. Actually, the cow fits too. The chicken was my favorite one, and I thought I could maybe curve the letters around, but it's just not quite wide enough here. So I couldn't fit that. So all I have to do now is just apply my black ink and try to get this on here straight as I stamp everything on. Oh, I'm so mad because I just stamped that on there and then realized that I didn't actually hit record. Man, I haven't done that in a long time, but that's okay. This actually went on really well. So it's actually supposed to be, it's kind of designed to look a little splotchy like a typewriter. Some of this though is just me not pushing down really hard, and this isn't a super smooth surface, but I like the kind of distressed look of the letters. I think that's actually perfect. So I need to just fill in my other R because I was using it in this spot here. And I think that looks really great. So let's just fingers crossed that I can do as well on the bottom where it says Market. The other option is to not do the cow. I don't know, I'm so confused. Should I do the cow on the bottom? I think I want to do the letters down here and the cow in the middle. Let's just stick with my original design. So I'm gonna just finish all of this up. Oh, it's a little nerve-wracking making sure that these come off really nicely, but so far so good. Okay, I think for now I'm gonna stop here and not do the cow stamp. I just am worried that that's gonna look a little too busy, and I think it looks nice and springy right now. I don't wanna mess it up. It's gonna be really hard to go back if I end up not liking that stamp. So here is the stool for now. I'm just gonna leave it like this. And if I change my mind before the end of the video, I will show it to you. Otherwise, you'll have to watch a future video of an antique booth tour and see how it looks in the booth. And that will be my final result there. Stamps came out great. The grain sack stripe, so easy. I hope you were able to understand the process pretty well. I just eyeballed it, honestly, and it looks great. Okay, so that's that one. Let me know what you think. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that I am going to seal this once it's completely dry with the matte Mod Podge. It's not going into focus, but I promise it's matte Mod Podge, nothing special about it, but I'll do a couple coats on here, especially because the ink, I don't know how well that dries and how like wipeable it will be. The ink actually might be fine because I know it's permanent ink, but eventually this paint could come up if it's not sealed. So just because it's something that could probably be used in someone's kitchen, you know, if they actually want to step onto it, I want it to be pretty durable. So I'll do a couple coats of the Mod Podge and then this will be done. Now for the ironing board, I'm going to use this new, to me, IOD stamp set called Retro. I'm really excited about this one because I think it'll be perfect on here to kind of give like a vintage feel, but not be like old-fashioned. I think because the letters are a little bit more modern, that it's going to give a good twist to this board and hopefully just make it like a more on-trend piece of decor, but we'll see. And I actually am wondering if I will stamp this on there, and if I don't like that the letters are hollow, I could kind of just go in and paint in the letters. And I would rather do that than go and mess with my Cricut right now and like make my own stencil. I think that this is my preferred way to do something. I don't really love messing with the technology if I don't have to. So all I'm going to do is write laundry vertically. I want to try to leave space at the top for that little wreath that I had on there earlier. And that's going to be it for this project. So I'm not loving how this is looking with just the outline. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this Posca paint pen and just color in the letters. And this actually sounds super fun to me. So hopefully I don't mess up because I don't know how I would undo it besides maybe sanding it. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. This feels like just using a Sharpie, but there's no smell or anything. It's actually just acrylic paint. If you have written with the Sharpie before, then I feel like you would be able to use this paint pen just fine. Now this project is just a combination of these really cute little canvas totes that I got at a yard sale. I actually think they're old and they are made out of drop cloth. So if you couldn't find the actual totes anywhere, they'd be really simple to sew together or even hot glue together, something that's a similar shape. We're just kind of making some like wall pockets that you can put florals in, so you can make them whatever shape you wanted. And I really wanted to share this project today because I think the options are really endless on this. You could use any sort of image on the front of these or even words. So I'm just using the butterfly stamp from IOD today and then some of the letter stamps next. And I'm just filling that up with some greenery afterwards and then sewing through a piece of twine towards the top of the bag so that it can just hang somewhere in your home. I thought these turned out really cute, and it'd be so fun to play with a variety of different sizes of these. And like I said, just using a bunch of different images. So I hope you guys have some inspiration for this and show me maybe on Facebook or just put down in the comments below what kind of varieties that you would like to make. It'd be really fun to make some specific for Easter also. Now for this basket, I'm just using this Cavallini vegetable poster, cutting it to size and just decoupaging it on with some matte Mod Podge. Super simple project, but makes a huge impact. I've sold a bunch of these in the past and they are a really good seller for me, so I'm excited to get this one done and into the booth. So here's how everything turned out. I think this is such a good little springtime collection. I can't wait to take this up to my booth because I know this little burst of color is going to be nice up there, especially during these very dreary end of January days that I'm dealing with right now. It has been such a dreary week. I actually have been loving the crock or the faux crock more and more as it's kind of sat around my house for a few days. I think, like I said, it's not like 100% there, but I think that I'm onto like some kind of technique that could look really good. The shutter was so easy. I love how it came out. The laundry sign, I didn't show you, but I heavily sanded the letters back down. And I think it just looks perfect now, nice and rustic. I used a ton of florals for today's video, so the wreath back there is like a preserved boxwood wreath. And then everything else is either from Walmart. I think these are both from Walmart here. And then the greenery that's stuffed in the butterfly bag, that is from Hobby Lobby. That's just like a cut up piece of boxwood garland. The basket was so simple. You saw me just kind of use the sanding around the edges instead of cutting it, and that worked so well. It was so much easier than trying to like perfectly measure it or trace the lid. And then we got this little step stool. I love having little step stools like this in the booth because it's nice to add some height and kind of break up my displays. So I can't wait to get this up there. I will have a video very soon of me putting all of these new items into my booth. Thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.